Hey everybody, this is Inara Ariane Griffin, and by now most of you should be on some form of holiday, resting and enjoying what we are really meant to do at this time of year. This is not a push phase, and you know that I'm always speaking into perfect timing, divine timing of finding the way to release your projects, if you like, to the wind, or grow a project. Some of that will be business, some of it will be personal. And what we have is, it is the full moon in Aquarius, one of my favorite moons because of the beauty of it. It's the ending of the summer. And there's a nostalgia to that. You feel like that heady richness of, all the festivals taking place, all the community activities, friends, family, holidays, all of those kind of group gatherings, which is so important for us humans. We've had a lot of cutoff in the last 2 years due to COVID and the pandemic. So people are really partying. And also I noticed that in England, because there's such a massive heat wave due to climate change, they're really going for it. So the temperature here in Bali is the same temperature as in England. In fact, England is outdoing Bali in terms of temperature. The only difference here is the humidity is almost 100%. It's just like saturated. And this moon, this heady, sort of, Aquarius is about the mystic, the one who steps outside of conventions. And so that heady sensuality that you feel at this time of year, in the time of Leo, and especially because we've also got the Leo, the Lionsgate time. So we've got, according to experts in Lionsgate field, we're streaming consciousness to evolve the planet at this time, and it's streaming from Sirius. So it's a very high frequency level of input to help us humans evolve. At the same time, you've got the moon in Aquarius, which is humanity, media, communication. And this is a reminder for you during the heady times of time off and, socializing and partying and exploration, that it's the most amazing time also to be communicating your ideas. And so how do you do that? Pretty much like this. Like, I'm in the middle of my holiday. I am not launching anything. I am not doing major business. But I am expressing what's coming up. And this, in a way, is what I'm encouraging you to do. You can be in the full flow of a holiday and take a little bit of time out to just talk about what your ideas are and what's coming up for you. And so I'm going to mention a couple of things. In London, live in London, I'm going to start doing cacao ceremonies. So some of you know that I'm a massive fan of Mexico. I've been going to Tulum for the last 10 years, working with my master teacher, Bobby Klein, who passed in February. Blessings on him. He was an amazing, amazing teacher. He's taught me a lot to do with my own channeling abilities, a lot to do with how I was to step out of running a yoga festival that I was doing when I met him, and instead to become more involved in spiritual teaching and be a spiritual teacher. And so as part of that, as part of the move towards that, a great new center has opened called Held House in Hoxton Square in London. And I am going to be running cacao ceremonies with my sister witch, Adea White Horse Terra. And she's come with me to Mexico and met the teacher that I used on my retreats to run the cacao ceremonies, who is a Mayan sister. She's an amazing teacher, and she's very deeply entrenched in Mayan culture. And so we learned the format of Mayan ceremony. I've been doing ceremonies for 30 years, teaching initiatory rites to men and women in the Wiccan path, which is very much to do with the land of Britain and Ireland. And but I understand ceremony because I've been so involved in world travel and observing ceremonies and being invited to ceremonies in Africa and India and you name it. Wherever I've gone, I've found the ceremonies. So bringing in the Mayan straight into London, which is interesting, Adea has studied the recipes of the cacao, many of which I've found in London, to be honest, like really bitter and really like you're just swallowing it to be able to enact the ritual. But the difference with the Mayan cacao is it's delicious. It is so, you know, of that land. And so Mayan cacao, they don't drink it bitter. They drink it, they sweeten it a bit. They put in all sorts of oils and various different herbs and flowers. And the taste is, in my opinion, it's like the top of the culinary kind of Mayan flavoring, if you like. And Mayan cacao so far has been the best I've ever tasted in any ceremonies I've done. And it's not an endurance to drink it, because sometimes I find it so bitter I'm just like, ugh, you know, trying to drink it to get this. So we're doing these ceremonies now on the moons, and my work will be very much to work with the theme of the moon. The first one is new moon in Virgo, 2 weeks from now on the 27th of August. Have a look at Held House and you will see various different, they do a lot of yoga, a lot of rocket yoga, Jivamukti, and breath work, and there's other things they do. Gong baths by my sister friend Farah. She's doing gong baths and ceremonies with different plant infusions, and we're bringing in the cacao ceremonies and some of the kind of visionary work that I work with, not only entrepreneurs, but I also work with people to guide them to their greatest visions so that they can break through and create that life on Earth. And the other thing that I'm doing, which is much more for those of you who are really putting out a big project, and that's business, is working with divine timing over the shadow season, which is from the autumn equinox all the way down to the winter solstice. It's this 3-month powerhouse activity to put out projects, and it's the most powerful, in my opinion, sales cycle of the year. So if you catch it and you start to create in it, and you create some new ideas and new products, new programs, new work that you want to put out, and you follow it down, and all the work I'll be doing is shadow work, because the shadow side of things is the most potent. It's the stuff that you hide. It's the stuff you don't want to deal with. It's your fears. It's the little parts of you that shy back from, let's say, being seen, even fame. Some of you are up to big things in the world. I myself am the woman behind the movers and shakers. That is my role. I'm meant to be slightly behind the scenes. I work with people who are doing huge projects and huge finance. And none of the people I work with really are beginners. So that's an invite to you, if you feel the call to really go for it in your level of business, like quantum shifts upwards, and working with the shadow season. And that will be the 11 kings, the 11 queens descending, because we're descending down into the underworld. That's the mythology, down to the winter solstice. And you can see that on my Instagram link tree. You can see 11 queens, 11 kings descending, which right now is at £1,111 for a 3-month course, going up to, on September the 6th, 3,330. And that's where it should be pitched. But I occasionally do these offers to encourage people maybe who are younger, or who have never worked with me, or who have not, you know, they've never seen what it's like to work with somebody who works like me. I'm a little bit like Merlin, who works with Arthur. So I work with kings and queens, and I'm the female version of Merlin. If I say Morgan Le Fay, which is a more appropriate feminine version, she was always given a bad role, right, in the story. So I'm more akin to Merlin, the reliable one who spiritually guides the king. And if you're interested, have a look at that. I'll pop the link in as well so you can see the price will be going up. And this is just a shout out if you are delivering your next quantum level in business. Namaste. Hope you're having a beautiful holiday.